Gold Rush. I hope you had a great week and a great Digger Dash. I just wanted to give you some updates from our leadership team meeting on Tuesday. We had a great conversation and just wanted to share some of the thinking that happened around the table. One of the things that we talked about was just our assessments and some of our assessment agreements. We talked about the new first unit benchmark assessment that we are giving. Many people are giving it this week and next. And I feel like it's a great thing that our school is doing that. Some schools are choosing not to take that on at this time. So just wanted to give some of the philosophy that was talked about. We talked a lot about it being embedded CMAS practice and really giving kids the opportunity to read multiple grade level passages after this unit in second and third grade, really giving kids the opportunity to try to respond on the computer. So they were getting used to some of the tests and some of the tools on our computer, but really not taking that for a grade. We do know that this assessment is new and do anticipate, because we are going to ask a lot of kids to try to take this assessment and read through it on their own, especially kids that are maybe RTI kids or some of our SPED kids, that this assessment might be super difficult. So it might not be one that we are necessarily sharing at conferences, just because I do anticipate, especially for this first couple of go-arounds, that it will be challenging for our students. Again, if you have a special ed student that you think that they're really far off grade level, talk to your special ed providers. That might be one that you are not necessarily having them read, but for most kids, including most RTI kids and some SPED kids, we really do want to give them that exposure to reading grade level texts and multiple texts. So they're really honestly, so they are not experiencing a lot of anxiety when they go to take CMAS. We also talked about not spending a lot of days prepping for the assessment because as we all have experienced in Unit 1, a lot of those standards do spiral, but definitely taking that time at the end to go back over that assessment. And I really do think this is a good option for us and a good opportunity for our kids to have that practice. It's almost like standards mastery that we did last year, but more embedded. So we'll see how it goes. We also talked at the table to really come back around after we've given Unit 1 and see how it goes. The other thing we talked about conferences that are coming up. Thank you so much. I know it's a lot of time to prep for that and get our materials ready. And we just went over some of the things that people were planning to share. They talked about a writing sample. Some of the upper grades were giving that pre and post assessment. And with Fontes and Pinnell or DRA, we talked about really making sure that that data looked current, saying that it wasn't necessarily every kid that we were reassessing in that whole full formalized measure, but especially those that were making growth. We thought that was really important. And also just being able to talk about the work that they are currently doing in their classroom. So hopefully that clarifies the need not to reassess everybody, but especially maybe knowing those parents that are really analytical and being able to share real time where they're doing, whether you know that informally. And for some of those kids that really maybe had regressed over the summer, maybe you're giving them the formalized assessment because they're just performing at a really different rate. So really judging that based on kids' rate of growth from the beginning of the year. The last thing that we really focused on was math enrichment. People were sharing some great ideas. They had a lot of great enrichment activities. Stephanie Brown was sharing those with team leaders. So if you're hoping to enrich some kids in your classroom, she shared a folder with the team leaders, and there's some great resources in there. Thank you, Stephanie, for holding on to that and sharing them. And some grade levels are doing that Tuesday, Thursday in the math block and finding time for the iReady pathways during those 2 out of 5 days in RTI. Others are really enriching in the classroom. And a lot of teams felt like they weren't necessarily ready to share kids across a grade level, which is totally fine. As long as we are meeting kids' needs in the math block and providing that enrichment where necessary, I think that's the most important piece. We also shared, Christy Barta is interested in coming back and doing some problem solving Thursday, Fridays, where we really pull all kids together and really give them some opportunities to go through some shared math activities that are really allow all kids to stretch their thinking. We thought we might work on a schedule and maybe try with fourth grade and see how that goes. So we're excited to follow up on that and present some more information. So it was a great meeting. Just wanted to share those highlights with you. I know Halloween is also on everybody's mind. Just a couple of things we were thinking about. We will have our breakfast parties and parade that Friday before Halloween. I know Halloween's on a Monday. Ooh, we have a PLC day. It's going to be an interesting next week. That will be fun times. Here we go. But we will have our parade and parties that Friday, and it's fine to just, I think as a building, if we say parent volunteers in for the party, and then everybody is welcome to attend the parade, which will be outside. So stay tuned for the parade route and specific times. Usually we end that day around 10:15, so families that don't celebrate Halloween are able to jump in afterwards. So more information to come on that, but just wanted to share what our initial thinking on it. Have a great weekend, everybody, and thank you so much for all that you do.